I'm Claire Malloy. I work at AAAS on the EARN conference team, and I'm just going to briefly introduce a few items before we get started with Dr. Marianne's presentation. And you can go to the next slide. So this webinar is in preparation for the STEM Research Abstract Submission for the 2026 EARN Conference. The EARN Conference is hosted by AAAS, which stands for the American Association for the Advancement of Science. And AAAS is one of the world's largest multidisciplinary scientific societies. We are a leading publisher of cutting-edge research through Science Family of Journals, which you may have heard of. So you can take a look at our mission and strategic goals that the EARN Conference falls under. And at the bottom of the slide is a few of our leadership members that front the work that we do. So next slide. The EARN Conference, if you haven't been or if you need a reminder, stands for the Emerging Researchers National Conference in STEM. And this year will be our 14th convening. The EARN Conference is funded by the National Science Foundation under the HBCU UP grant, and the goals and objectives of the conference are to prepare students for global STEM careers, to hone science communication skills, and to provide opportunities for students to engage in professional development and build community and belonging in STEM. And so, of course, a significant part of the conference is hearing about your STEM research, but we also have lots of professional development workshops and opportunities, career networking, and we love to illuminate some amazing scholars and speakers during our plenary sessions. This is the EARN project team that makes it all happen. So I just want to quickly thank everyone listed here. And today we are joined by Naya, who is the project associate for the EARN conference. So I'm sure y'all will be seeing a lot of our names throughout this process. And then I'll go on to the details for 2026. It is back in Atlanta, Georgia for the second year now. It'll be March 19th through 21st. And just some important reminders that abstracts and travel awards are due on Friday, September 12th at 11:59 p.m. So it's great that y'all are here today to prepare your abstracts. You've got a few more weeks to get them prepared to submit. And we will be sending decisions out on October 20th, and that will go to your student email and the faculty advisor email that you will enter with your submission. And they'll also be available via the portal if you log into your student account. And then lastly, I'm just going to go over a few housekeeping items. If you have any questions throughout this webinar, please feel free to put them in the chat and we'll be sure to answer them. The recording and slides will be posted after the webinar and sent to you via email. So if you want to go back and look at them or share with any students that maybe did not attend today, that's available. And we'll also be sending the post-webinar survey, which is really important for our work in documenting impact. So it's greatly appreciated when you all take just a few minutes to complete that after the webinar. And I would also like to thank Marianne for leading this webinar. She is the president and founder of Sustainable Horizons Institute and has many years of experience in developing the next generation of STEM leaders like you, and has had great involvement in the EARN conference throughout the years. So thank you to Marianne for leading this webinar, and I will pass it along to you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Claire. And thank you to everyone who joined the webinar today. I'm really excited to be able to facilitate this webinar, and I look forward, hopefully, to seeing some of you in Atlanta. So just a couple other administrative details. This is a 60-minute webinar, and that is including time for Q&A. So as Claire mentioned, just feel free to ask questions in the chat or raise your hand, and you can do that throughout the webinar. You don't have to wait till the end. So first of all, I want to start with a poll just to get a little bit of information about who all is here. It looks like we have a nice size group, but not too big, so a nice intimate group. So I'm going to let you can scan this QR code or go to the link that's shown here. It's https pollev.com/MarianneLeung407. You can also text to the number shown there. And I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the poll. So the first question, these polls are, by the way, it's just a way for us to interact dynamically and to see live results. So as you can see here, you can go to the poll and you can just start out by telling me what your current academic status is. I'm just trying to get a sense of who all is out there. So there'll just be a few questions for the poll. And like I say, it's no, this data is not going to be saved. We're not going to do anything with it. It's completely anonymous. So please feel free to just go ahead and enter in your information about your current academic status. So it looks like we have, okay, so numbers are still coming in. So I love watching them go. So please go ahead. Like I say, you can scan the QR code, you can go directly to the website, or you can join by text. So the first question is, what is your current academic status? And the options are undergraduate student, master's, doctoral student, postdoc, faculty, staff, and I think there's an other category as well. So looks like we mostly have undergraduates. It's also a good number of master's and doctoral students and some faculty as well. Everyone is welcome to this. So I'm just trying to get a sense of who's out there. So I appreciate your participation in the poll. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the next question. And question is, have you ever submitted an abstract to any kind of conference at all? Just a quick yes or no. I'm just trying to get a sense of, where people are at in their journey here. So let's see. So go ahead and indicate, have you ever submitted an abstract to any kind of conference at all? So not quite seeing the results here, but it looks like some of you have entered something in there. There might be something funny going on with the poll, as it's not showing up the responses. So I'll go ahead and try the next question and see if that one's going to work for us. There we go. This one looks like it's in the right format. So are you planning on submitting an abstract to the ERN conference? So this webinar is open to anyone. So you don't have to be planning on going to the ERN, but I'm just kind of curious to see how many of you are planning on going to ERN. So it looks like most everyone is. So that's good news. Like I say, it's not required, but just for my own kind of information for as I'm kind of doing the webinar. All right, great. Thank you for participating. I'll go ahead and go on to the next question. What are you hoping to get out of this webinar? You know what? It seems like something's not working right with my, wonder if I'm in the right mode. Because it normally here when you can type in text and it's going to create a word cloud. But again, I feel like it's not quite working properly. Let me try. Yeah.
I use Poll Everywhere as well. On the bottom, there's do you see the instructions and responses? If you click
oh, there we go. They changed it. That's what it happened.
Yeah, they've changed the interface on us.
Great. Thank you, Cassie.
You're welcome.
Yes, it's been a little while since I used this one. So there it is. So, okay. So now you should be able to type in some words and it should generate a word cloud. So tell me what you're hoping to get out of this webinar.
Although now it's not letting us enter anything. It says the activity is not active.
Oh. Well, I go into present mode. And it's still not letting you do it, huh?
Not from that interface. I can try re-entering the poll. Nope, it's saying we're waiting for your presentation to begin.
Okay, well, sorry about that. I'm not quite sure why it's not working because I am going into present mode. Okay, well, let's go ahead and go back to the actual webinar presentation. I was just kind of trying to give you guys an opportunity to interact a little bit, but sorry that isn't working today. All right, there we go. Okay, so today what we're planning on presenting is here's an outline of the webinar. So first off, I thought I would start with why should you even give a poster or an oral? Maybe someone told you to, but I think it's a really good idea to take a moment out and think about the motivation for doing this in the first place. And then we'll go over what the ERN abstract guidelines are. I can say that for those of you who are not planning on attending or submitting to ERN, the guidelines are quite consistent with what you would find in the STEM field. So I think either way, you're going to learn something from this. We'll talk about the review process, so how your abstract will be reviewed, and that basically decides whether or not you're going to be able to present your abstract. And then we'll talk about how to prepare and submit your abstract, and we'll go over the development guide and sample. So why give a poster or presentation? So there's lots of reasons why. Hopefully you've done a little bit of research, either at the undergraduate or graduate level, and you're excited to share your results with other people. So that's a great reason to try to present your research. Of course, in science, that's how we learn about each other's work, and learning about each other's work, we can then advance our science all together as a community. So you probably might also want to share your excitement for your research, demonstrate your skills, your knowledge, your abilities. You can learn from others. A lot of people don't realize this, but when you go and present, it's a great opportunity to learn as well. And of course, don't forget that there's prizes and awards, which is wonderful for building your CV. And of course, oftentimes there are cash awards. So for the ERN abstract guidelines, there is a page on the ERN website, which I have here with the link to it. We will be sharing these slides with all the links. So on there is some guidelines for the submissions. The guidelines reflect both for the poster and oral presentations. And as Claire mentioned, the deadline is September 12th at midnight. You cannot mail or fax them. They must be submitted through the portal. In terms of student eligibility, first of all, you need to be currently registered as either an undergraduate or a graduate student in a U.S. academic program at a college or university, and you must have conducted some research in STEM. So this focus is on STEM. Also listed on the next bullet point is programs that are people are encouraged to to submit abstracts funds. So these are programs related to the NSF Directorate, which is funding this conference. So there's the AGAP, or Alliance for Graduate Education and Professor. And I'm going to probably just quickly go through the acronyms: Advanced, CRESS, the EFRI-REM, Entry Point, Hispanic Serving Institutions, Historically Black Colleges, University Undergraduate Program, the Lewis Stokes Minority Program, anyone who's done an RU or Research Undergraduate Program, STEM, tribal colleges, and basically any other research programs. So for your presentation schedule and type, so you might wonder, like, when is my presentation going to be? Claire shared when the conference will be. All of the poster and orals will be on Friday, March 20th, or Saturday, March 21st. Note that when you submit your poster or oral, you have to select whether you're going to do a poster or an oral, and that will become your presentation type if you are selected. For graduate students, you can only do orals. But for undergraduates, you could do a poster. If you're not sure what that is, a poster is literally like a poster. It's a big, there's guidelines for the size of them, but like usually it's like 3 by 4 feet long. It's a big poster. You stand by your poster and people come around and talk to you. It's a little more informal than an oral presentation where it's a timed presentation. So the criteria for acceptance. So your abstract must include each of these sections listed here. The hypothesis or a statement of the problem. So kind of what's behind your research, what sort of methods or controls you use to do that, the actual results and a discussion of what you found, as well as your conclusions, your future research, and any key references. You also, of course, want to acknowledge the funders and any collaborators, and you must get your faculty approval. The acceptances will be listed in the ERN conference app, which you can download from the website. There are cash awards given, and they're given in each category, each STEM category, which I'll go over in a minute, in both categories, oral and poster, and both for undergraduate and graduate. So undergraduates and graduates will be viewed separately, and there will be separate award categories by each of those categories. And the awards will be announced in the closing banquet on Saturday, March 21st, which is a super fun evening and dinner and a big gala event. So here are all the STEM categories that are covered by ERN, starting with the biological sciences, going through chemistry, computer sciences, ecology, math, nanoscience, physics, science education, behavioral and economic sciences, technology, engineering, forensic, data science. So really broad stretch over pretty much all of the STEM areas. So those are all the categories. So when you submit your abstract, you will need to select one of these categories for your abstract. A few more guidelines. So you can only submit one poster or oral, okay? So each student can only do one submission, and it should be for a poster or an oral. Students, if you're in the same lab, we welcome students from the same lab to submit, but they must be independent and original abstract. So it's different work. You can't use the same abstract, and you should be presenting different work. The primary author is the person who is going to present during the conference. So that's the student, and no co-presenters are allowed. You can definitely have co-authors, and that's encouraged, but only one person presents. You also list any co-authors. You do need to get their permission. If you don't get permission from your co-authors, then that will disqualify your application. You must also obtain approval from your faculty advisors and research mentors before submitting your abstract. And again, that will cause rejection. The abstract must be written by the student and reviewed by the faculty advisor. So the advisor shouldn't write it for you. You should write it yourself with your advisor's help. And we really strongly encourage, they absolutely must adhere to the highest quality standards. Be sure that you are using the correct grammar, spelling, sentence structure, etc. And of course, do editing and proofreading prior to your submission. The review process. So your review abstracts are all going to be reviewed by a panel of scientists in the appropriate STEM discipline. But recall, it's kind of these broad areas. So as you probably are getting a sense for, each particular area in science, you kind of get subspecialties and subdisciplines and get very specialized areas. So while, for instance, my background is chemistry, I review for the chemistry abstracts, but in my case, I did computational quantum mechanics, which is a very specialized area. So I'm not an expert by any means in, for instance, NMR technology. So I will have a background in chemistry, and I'll understand a lot, but I won't necessarily be an expert in your particular field. So take that in mind when you're preparing your abstract. All the abstracts, we're going to look at the originality and innovation, as well as the scientific content. Is it supported by quantitative information and references, the merit of the research, the quality of the written content, and also very importantly, adherence to the guidelines I just went over. Once the abstracts are reviewed and decisions are made, they are final and they can't be changed, as well as the presentation schedule. EARN is a very large conference. They have over 1,000 people in attendance, most of which are students. So hundreds and hundreds of students are presenting. So unfortunately, once the schedule is set, you must adhere to it. If unfortunately you're not accepted, the reasons would be basically not having the things we described as required. So if you don't have a hypothesis or a statement, you're not explaining your methods, you're not presenting data or your results, and you're not interpreting that data. So you really have to present data to support your conclusions and present your conclusions and talk about future research as well. The notifications for the abstracts are going to be sent through email and also through the conference portal. So make sure that when you enter into the system, your email address is correct for both yourself and your faculty mentor. Check your emails for notifications. As Claire mentioned, October 20th is the plan for when all the decisions will be finalized and emails will be sent. There is also a process for applying for travel awards, since you need to probably have some travel funds if you don't already have them through your own faculty mentor or grants. It has the same deadline and the same award notification. So now we'll start talking about actually how to prepare to write your abstract. So if I'm going to talk about how to organize your ideas, how to tell a story, and how to tell a scientific story, because this is all really important when you're writing the abstract. This is your entry into the conference. If you don't write a good abstract, you won't have the opportunity to go to the conference and have a great experience and meet a lot of people and present your research. So first of all is when you think about what you want to present, I suggest that you think about who is your audience, what do they know or not know, and then organize your abstract around these topics that we already told that are required. Make sure you include them, and it might be that you want to do them in this same order, or maybe you'll have justification for doing it otherwise. So does anyone have any idea about the audience at ERN? What are they going to be like? So you saw that these are STEM fields spanning from biology to nanoscience to mathematics and computer science. There's a wide range of topics that are covered by this conference. So the thing that you should keep in mind is that not only might someone come by and listen to your presentation, either whether it's oral or poster, in that's maybe even a completely different field, like I'm in chemistry, maybe some biologists will be there or computer scientists, and certainly they won't necessarily be in your subdiscipline. So that should guide you for thinking about your presentation as well as your abstract, because like I say, while it might be in the same general field, they might not have the same very detailed experience and technical expertise that you have. So your abstract should really tell a story as much as your presentation should tell a story. And what about storytell do we know? There's beginning, there's endings, there's actors, there's some middle, sometimes there's twists and turns, maybe there's some questions that came up, and there's, of course, hopefully what you discovered by doing your research. So you want to think about telling that story through the abstract. And of course, abstracts have a word limit, so you have to be careful, you have to be concise. So really try to put some thought into telling the story through your abstract. And what's really important in science is when you tell a story, even though you get into very, very specific deep technical areas, you have to balance that technical knowledge with reaching your audience, and that's a real art. It can, if you get really good at it, it's going to really pay off for you, because being able to explain your research in a way that everyone can learn and understand from it is going to take you a long ways. So now to get into some of the details, this is when you actually go to write your abstract. This is the information that will be in the template that you have to fill out. So you're going to need a title. It can be no longer than 100 characters, and that's including punctuation and spaces. It should be initial cap, not all caps, and it should not be a sentence. So it should be a phrase. And try to, come up with a good title that will be explanatory, but not use too much jargon or acronyms. So here in the sample example, the science of education, life, and the computer era. So that's a really nice, kind of catchy title that should get people's attention and encourage them to come and attend. The primary author has to be listed, and that will be the person who will be presenting. Your primary author's institution, so here's the example, HRD University. Any co-authors that are, so anyone else that helped you with the research should be listed, including the faculty advisor. Of course, you have to get approval from them as well. So here's an example, Jane Doe at Howard University in DC, and the other, co-authors are there, Mary Doe at Morgan State University, James Doe at Savannah State University. And as a reminder, no co-presenters are allowed. You can have co-authors, but not co-presenters. So then there's the actual abstract. So that this has a 3,000 character limit, including spaces and punctuation. And you must include, of course, your hypothesis, why the research is important, your methods and controls, your results, your conclusions, and your future research questions. You want to acknowledge the funders. You want to include an example of who supported the research, the funding. Yes, you have to get your advisor's approval, and you list the advisors along with their email address. They will be contacted, so that's why we need your email address. Okay, so next, what I want to do is take a sample abstract. This is an abstract in a biological area. It's a little bit long in my opinion, but it's quite dense technically. But I wanted us to go through this process of trying to think about this. So I'm going to let you take a minute to read it. And we want to try to find what is the hypothesis in this abstract. And I'd be happy to take anyone's who has an idea of what the hypothesis is for this abstract. Just raise your hand or take yourself off mute.
Hi, Marianne.
Hi.
Thank you for this background information. Do you have this store for future access somewhere, or?
Yes, this is going to be shared. The PDF of this will be shared as well as the recording.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm sure other students that didn't make it can benefit from the background.
Absolutely. Yep. We have this, it's being recorded, and the recording will be shared, and the slides will also be shared. So does anyone have any ideas about what the hypothesis of this one is? It's pretty dense, but let me kind of go through this exercise of reviewing an abstract. So the hypothesis here is shown in the highlighted text. So the hypothesis is that the exotherms should show a reverse size relationship than what was hypothesized by Bergmann's rule. So there's a lot of text here that talks about Bergmann's rule, which explains the relationship. And here in this particular work, that they wanted to test that there was an inverse rule that was actually the inverse of what was suggested by Bergmann's rule. So that's the hypothesis in this abstract. Why is this important? This is important because understanding this relationship of body size and exotherms tells us about this rule that's been in place for a long time and whether or not it's really valid. So there's a number of things that have evidence kind of maybe suggesting that the rule isn't quite right. And so they wanted to explore this. What were the methods that they used to do this research? They went and measured the body size for 5 populations at high, mid, and low elevations, and then they compared them using the ANOVA technique. So they took measurements and they compared them, and the measurements were taken at different elevations since they were thinking that maybe that had something to do with this. The results that they found were that they actually found a significant size difference between high and low elevation, which was the opposite of what Bergmann's rule showed. So they did actually prove their hypothesis in this case. And their conclusions are that there is actually an inverse correlation to Bergmann's rule, and it suggests that a physiological explanation due to the rapid thermoregulation that happens in these animals. Their future research they're planning on is to look at the interaction of factors such as sexual selection on the male body size and female fecundity, factors that can explain why all exotherms don't follow this rule. So that's how you can kind of decompose an abstract. And I strongly suggest that you, like I say, make sure that you include all these components in your abstract. And I hope that this exercise was helpful for you so you can see, kind of imagine, I'm guessing that some of you aren't biologists, so this is probably pretty dense technical information. So maybe you could imagine ways to try to improve and make it a little easier for other people to understand. So when you actually go to submit your abstract, there's the page here that's shown in the URL, which is the abstract. It actually outlines the abstract submission process. That's this page here. And there's some text that says, click here to access the Travel Award Grant portal. So you want to click right there when you go to that page. And then the first thing you have to do when you're there is actually create an account. So you create your own account within the portal. And then once you've created an account, you click on this Abstract and Travel Award link, and that will bring you to this page, which is the My Abstract page, and you can create your abstract. From there, you want to actually go through one by one and enter in all the information that is asked for in the page. So just what we went through, the abstract title, the primary author, the full name, the primary institution, your co-authors, you type, indicate what type it is, whether you want to do undergraduate oral, undergraduate poster, or graduate oral. And then you enter in you select your discipline, enter in your abstract information. If you have formulas in your abstract and you want to upload them like in a PDF or Word file, you can do that. Your role as the researcher, so what you did as part of the research, and your funder acknowledgement. And then you enter in the faculty mentor, the mentor's email, and you just make sure you review everything, can confirm it, and be sure to click on the submit button. You can also submit a travel award request in the portal as well. So you can do that, follow a very similar steps that was shown here for submitting your abstract. So in summary, we have kind of gone over the guidelines. You have to make sure you include all of the sections. You want to tell your scientific story. Be sure to write it in as a good way as possible so that someone who doesn't have the detailed knowledge that you have of your research can, can understand it and try to avoid using acronyms and things like that, so that anyone can really understand it. Make sure you're using proper grammar and punctuation, and make sure you're writing to your target audience, which in this case is a wide range of people from a lot of different disciplines. So with that, I will open it up to questions to see if anyone has any questions about the presentation that we could help answer for you. Let's see.
I have a question. If the student have not completed the entire research but has preliminary results, would it be acceptable?
Yes, absolutely. Preliminary results are acceptable. We understand it very often, since you have to submit so far in advance of when the actual conference will be, you might not already have them. Hopefully they would have them, either, some results by the time of the conference. And even if they didn't, there's more research to happen and they just have preliminary results, that is still fine.
Okay, thank you. And by the way, the notification is sent to a student or to both a student and faculty research mentor?
I'm going to let Claire answer that question.
It'll be sent to both the faculty advisor and the student.
Okay, but last time I didn't receive it, but my student received it.
Yes, yeah, it was just sent to students last year, and we're making that edit this year to send to both.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, some more questions? Well, hopefully you guys found this helpful as an overview of the process. Like I say, it's a little bit of an art to present your abstract. We went over all of the guidelines and deadlines. Claire, I don't know if you wanted, I see you shared the survey link. So we do ask people to respond to the survey to provide feedback. Hopefully this was helpful.
Yes,
And
thanks
if
so
you-
much, Marianne.
Yes.
I do see one question in the chat.
Right, thank you. I see that. What is the nature of the presentation? Will this be tables with presenters standing in front giving their research presentation, or will they be given talks in a room? That's a great question, Brittany. So for the oral presentations, each oral will be in a room, and the room is by category. So for instance, there's I speak from my experience, chemistry graduate orals. There'll be a session that will be for all of those, and all of the graduate orals will be in one presentation. So they'll be grouped by discipline and by academic status. So the graduate orals are typically separate from the undergraduate, although I guess if there was only a very small number in a particular category, I think I've seen them combined before, but typically it would be graduates separated from undergraduates. That's for the oral presentations. And so it'll be a smallish room where there will be a podium up at the front with a microphone typically. There will be a screen and there'll be a computer. So you will need to load your presentation on the computer in advance. There'll be times set up in the schedule where you can go in and load your presentation. Judges will be there to make sure that everyone gets the presentation on the computer. So all of the presentations will be from one computer that's connected to the AV system. And then you'll present to that group. The posters will be in a much larger room. There'll be large stands where people will tack their posters up to the stand. Each poster will be given a number, so you'll be given a number, so you'll know the day and time of your presentation. And then again, usually it's early in the morning. You're able to go in and put up your posters ahead of time, and then at the time of the poster sessions, you go and stand by your poster. So those sessions are much larger. There'll be a lot of people in different, in the big room with all these different poster stands. So feel free to let me know if that answered all your questions. So you can pick whether you want to do an oral or a poster session. I think it's really up to your choice. You can talk it over with your faculty advisor. Like I say, the posters, presentations, typically people start, if you've never given a presentation, they start with the poster presentation. It's maybe a little less intimidating. You stand next to your poster, people come by and talk to you, judges will come by and talk to you, and it's very informal. So you can typically they ask that for you to kind of prepare a presentation to last, maybe 5 or 8 minutes. But it's quite informal, and there's usually back and forth questions and whatnot. Where an oral presentation, you will have a very specific set of time. I believe, help me out, Claire, because I've forgotten, but I think it's like a 7-minute presentation and 2 minutes for Q&A. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Great.
So you have specifically 7 minutes to give your presentation. It is timed, and then there's 2 minutes afterwards for questions and answers. It's more formal. People usually have PowerPoint presentations that they use to present. And there's only 2 minutes for Q&A. So where a poster is informal, you can go back and forth and talk with people who come up to see your poster. So it's up to you. Like I say, the graduate students can only do oral presentations. The posters are really set aside for the undergraduates. But if you're an undergraduate and you want to try an oral, you can also do that as well. So it's up to you to decide. Personally, I see merits to both of them. Posters are nice because they're informal and you can, have kind of conversations, but then the session lasts much longer. So you have to be there for the entire time during the poster sessions. I think they're usually, what are they, Claire, about an hour or longer for those poster sessions. Okay, how about any other questions? Okay, I see William has a question for the posters. Is there any place where digital copies can be submitted, or is it just brought with the student? Again, I'm going to let Claire do this. For sure, you have to bring an actual physical poster. That I know about, but I don't know about the digital.
We just require the tangible poster. You have an option through our conference app to upload it digitally so that other students and attendees can look at it, but that's not a requirement.
Great. Okay, very good. Good questions. Some other questions that we have from anyone. This is a great opportunity to ask a question. Anything in this area is fine. We're pretty friendly, so don't worry. So ERN is really a great conference, as Claire mentioned. It's 14 years. I'm like impressed. It's been going for so long, and it's a really, really wonderful conference. And I certainly hope that I will get a chance to see many of you at the conference. If you do see me, say hello. I will be judging as well as doing these webinars. There are some webinars that are coming up where we'll go into a lot more details about how to actually create your poster and present it. And the same thing with the orals, how to create the oral presentation and present it. So those will be coming up, later on. I think we have them scheduled in January. Is that when they are? Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah. And so we'll go into more details about and give you some tips. And I will be presumably judging for chemistry posters again, and happy to help out and give any tips to anyone. So, okay, I see Brittany has another question. Will there be any companies seeking employees or interns that will be represented there? And I'll let Claire elaborate, but I'll say definitely, because our organization is one of the exhibitors there, and we have internship opportunities, fellowship opportunities, and whatnot. But I'll let Claire give the full spiel.
Yes, that's right. We have 3 different exhibitor hall sessions throughout the conference, and there's usually about 100 different companies and organizations, grad schools, all looking to network with students. So definitely a great time to network.
Yes, definitely. It's really wonderful to see all the supporters of ERN, and we're really pleased to be one of those supporters. So feel free to stop by our booth, because we will definitely have one, and we'll be sharing the opportunity. So I work at Sustainable Horizons Institute, which is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we run programs and give opportunities to help people develop their careers in STEM.
I have a good question, if I may ask quickly.
Of course.
This is regarding the registration for undergraduate students. Are they required to be enrolled or be part of any of the NSF programs listed in the registration page?
Again, I'll let Claire go ahead and answer that.
It's a requirement that, so is this registration general registration or for
General registration.
sectors? No, it's not a requirement.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Great. Other questions? Okay, thank you, Carol. I will, so if anyone has further questions beyond today, feel free to send an email to the ERN conference email address. If you want to have any questions directly for me, feel free to contact me as well at emilyyoung@shinstitute.org, or visit our website. I don't know if anyone else has any questions. We're happy to answer any other questions if you have any.
Thank you, Marianne. I think we'll stay on for just a few more minutes.
Okay.
Thanks everyone for joining.